This program is a paid advertisement for Light Your Fire.
Hi, everybody, and thanks for joining me. I'm Peter Tomarken, and this is another edition of A Closer Look. She's been called America's love expert, the fairy godmother of relationships, and the expert's expert. She's shown thousands of men and women how they can have their mate hopelessly and passionately in love with them forever. My guest today is Ellen Kreidman, New York Times best-selling author and highly acclaimed relationship expert. She's appeared on every major talk show, including Oprah, Donahue, Geraldo, Sally Jessy Raphael, and Maury Povich. She's been featured in most major newspapers, magazines, and radio shows around the nation. Her books have been translated into many different languages all around the world. And now her highly acclaimed relationship program is available to you. Ellen, thanks for joining us once again.
Thank you for having me. It's wonderful being here.
Oh, it's always nice to see you. I know since our last interview that you've had virtually hundreds of letters from people all over the United States telling you about how your program has done so much for them.
Yes.
I mean, that's got to be great.
I am so grateful for that because people are really listening to me and they know that what I talk about comes from personal experience, it comes from my heart and the experience of thousands of men and women who have been through my classes. And that's so different than someone's theory or philosophy. It's what really works.
What's the single piece of advice you give them?
When I give this advice, I think every major talk show host in the country asked me to repeat it because it's so important. In fact, Oprah had me say it backstage a couple of times. Here it goes. A man falls in love because of the way he feels about himself when he's with a woman. And when he doesn't feel good anymore, he's going to find another woman that he feels good about himself with. That's what an affair is about. It's not that he's in love with this other woman. What he's in love with is the way he feels about himself when he's with that other woman. And a woman falls in love for the same reason. It's about how she feels when she's with that special man. And I get calls all the time and someone says, Ellen, now that I'm in love, I feel beautiful, I feel sexy, I feel special, I feel important. And you know what? We have a right to feel like that for the rest of our lives. And when we don't, we keep looking for somebody who's going to make us feel like that.
Sure.
I was doing a radio show in the Midwest, and this gentleman called up and he said, I was listening to you. I just dropped a hamburger in my lap, and I had to go to a payphone to call you and tell you what you're saying is right. I have been having an affair for 3 years, and I could never put into words why. My wife is beautiful. She's intelligent. She's the pillar of the community. But you know what? When I'm with my wife, I don't feel like anything, and this other woman makes me feel like a king.
Sure.
And I want to ask you something. I know, Peter, you are happily married.
Yes.
But just for a minute, will you go back to your bachelor days with me?
Okay.
If you went out with a woman and she thought you were incredible, she made you feel like a king, she thought you were sexy, she thought you were funny, she thought you were brilliant, would you want to spend time with her?
Absolutely, I did, and I married her.
Right, exactly.
Kathleen, right?
You prove my point.
Now that's really powerful stuff, but I'm sure it's equally powerful for someone who's single.
You know what? I talk to so many single people, and before they go out on a date, they're always worried, what am I going to wear? What am I going to say? What am I going to do? What do I look like? Am I going to come across as intelligent? Are they going to think I'm funny? And I tell them, it isn't about you. If the other person leaves that date feeling important, special, funny, brilliant, guess what? They're going to want date number 2, 3, 4, and probably want to spend the rest of their lives with you.
Right, they want to spend it forever.
That's
But
exactly.
what about all the emphasis on cosmetics and diet and exercise?
Well, it's important if it makes you feel good, and obviously it makes you healthy, but it isn't going to keep somebody in your life. My course is not about getting thinner or prettier or making more money or becoming more intelligent. Some of the most beautiful people in the world are by themselves. Some of the wealthiest people are lonely. This is about how does another human being feel about themselves when they're with you. In other words, it isn't about me, but how does my husband feel about himself when he's with me? And it's not about my husband, it's about how do I feel when I'm with him. And if we make each other feel so good, why would we ever want to find anybody else? This program is going to teach people how to make their mate feel so good about who they are that they would never dream of being with anybody else in their life. You know what? If I asked anybody that got married, why did you get married? They'd look at me and say, I was in love. I mean, that's why I got married. I'm sure that's why you got married. And I want you to understand something. The statistics now are 1 out of every 2 marriages are ending in divorce. So love is not enough because everybody's in love in the beginning. We live in a society where it takes 5 years to become a plumber. And all it takes to get married are 2 willing bodies and a marriage license. Something is wrong with this picture. We take courses for our professional life and everybody gets raises, they get promotions, but they don't do anything for their personal life and then they don't understand why it falls apart. You have to spend some time, some effort, some energy if you want to make your personal relationship work.
I know for a fact that there's some beautiful woman out there right now who's boring some man to tears. I mean, eventually that infatuation wears off. It just gets boring.
Yes, and it's probably one of the most common things I hear. I am so bored, or my relationship is so boring. And you know what? The best way not to have a boring relationship is not to be a boring person. Now, here goes. I know that I'm going to insult somebody out there, but if you've ever said, I'm bored, you know what? You are boring. You can't be bored unless you are a bore.
Come right, don't be shy.
No, but you know what? Here, when you say I'm bored, you know what you're doing? You're saying somebody else out there make me happy. Somebody else entertain me. You take no responsibility. But when you say I'm a bore, I'm boring, now you have to take responsibility. And the best way I know to do that is to do something outrageous. Do something out of character. Do something you've never done before, because you know what? When you do that, you're scared, you're nervous, you're excited, but you're not bored anymore.
No, it's true.
And with this program, nobody is ever going to ever be bored again. They're going to have so many ideas, they're never going to be able to say, what are we going to do for our anniversary? What am I going to get her for Valentine's Day? What are we going to do for birthdays? You will have more ideas than you know what to do with, and you're going to be able to knock the socks off your partner.
To find out more about Ellen's proven relationship program, pick up that phone that you got in your hand right now and call the toll-free number on your screen. Ellen's program is not available in stores. It's only available through this exclusive TV offer. And we've got some good news for you. We've worked out a special arrangement for our viewers today to receive a substantial discount off Ellen's program. So call right now. Ellen, I know in your program you give so many examples of what to do, specifically what to do, and you make it fun once you hear how to do it.
And I give examples that go from PG on up. And I know that when a person looks at the first idea or listens to it and says, oh, I could do that, and then they listen to something else, oh, I've done that, that's not a big deal. But then they hear the one idea and they think, oh, I could never do that in a million years. And that's the one that I encourage them to do. You know why? Because as soon as you even think about the thing that you can't do, your heart beats faster, the adrenaline starts to flow, and you're alive. And that, again, is what this program is about. And I want to tell you something, Peter. The reason I'm able to get people to do this is I talk about what life is really about. And what it is creating memories. And when it's all said and done, that's all we have are memories. You know, we get so wise before we die, and nobody on their deathbed is ever going to say, you know what, the time is over and I should have spent more time at the office. I knew it. I should have put in overtime. We're not going to say that. You know what we're going to say is, oh my gosh, it's over and I should have had more fun. And most importantly, I should have told and shown the people I love how much they mean to me. And I don't want anybody to have a life filled with regrets.
So no one's going to say, I should have, would have, could have.
No, and I'll tell you, the only people that are going to have regrets are the ones that don't get this program. Because if I hear one more person that says to me, Ellen, if I had had this program 5 years ago, oh my gosh, I never would have gotten divorced. I had somebody else that said, Ellen, if I had this 2 years ago, I never would have left my boyfriend. I had another person that said, you know what, I got your program finally, I'd heard you a year ago, and if I had gotten it then, I'd already be in a relationship by now.
Right.
So the only
Right.
people that will have the regrets are the ones that don't get this program.
And what's interesting about the program is that you give techniques and ideas that change people's lives, I mean, like that.
Yes, you know what? It doesn't take years, it doesn't take months, it doesn't take weeks, it can take days, it can take minutes, just like that. You give me anybody and give me 24 hours and I'm going to change their life forever. When they finish that first tape, they will never see their mate the way they do now. They will never relate to men and women the way they do now. And I'm telling you that if you're single, at the end of that first tape, I'm going to give you a homework assignment, something that you have to do, that when you hear it and you do it, you're going to have more dates than you ever know what to do with.
And I doubt this is a homework assignment like anyone's ever had out there.
No,
right?
no, this is a different kind of a homework assignment.
Right.
And I had one couple that said they could hardly get through each tape when they headed to the bedroom. So you're right, I don't give homework. This is not school. This is your chance to get the A++. This is your chance to be the teacher's pet and get on the honor roll.
Right.
Because people will tell me, oh, this is so much fun. You know, people don't even care that they're stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic anymore because they've got the cassettes playing and they're laughing their heads off at the stories and the example that I'm giving. And then when they get to work, they're actually upset when they reach their destination because they have to stop listening to this program.
Right,
you know?
Well, you give them a recipe. You're Julia Childs, basically. You give them a recipe for passion, love, a relationship, and then it's a formula you give them.
Exactly. And you know why? Because I've studied thousands of men and women who are happily married, who are in good relationships, and there is a formula. There is something that appears in all of their lives that when you apply them to your own life, the results are absolutely astounding.
There are some relationships that are really history, no good. What can it possibly do for them?
I want to tell you something. If there's anybody out there listening, I am asking them, please don't file for divorce until they listen to this program. I just want 24 hours with any couple. If they listen to this program, they're going to get back all the feelings they had when they first fell in love. So if there's anybody out there that's about to file for divorce, please don't file. I am asking them, if they know somebody who's about to file for divorce, please beg them not to file until they listen to this program. This is a true story. I had a woman that called me up and she said, Ellen, my marriage is over. I've already filed for divorce, but my daughter, who is a newlywed now, is in so much trouble. I don't want her to go through the heartaches that I've been going through, so I'm going to order your program for her. And I said, that's fine, but I want you to listen to it first. And she said, oh, no, you don't understand. I'm in my 50s. We've already filed for divorce. We're living separate lives. We don't communicate. It's over. I said, no, you don't understand. I'm not sending you this program unless you listen to it first.
You wouldn't take no for an answer.
And wasn't she lucky to get me on the telephone,
Yes,
you know?
exactly.
But you know what? Months later, I got a postcard from her that said she was on a second honeymoon in Tahiti. I never listen to anybody who says they're on the verge of divorce because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that if they were in love once before, I can get them back to having all those feelings again, including the butterflies in their stomach. And I know it sounds absolutely incredible and impossible, but you've got to give me the chance because if I'm wrong, you have nothing to lose. Then you can go ahead and file for divorce, but if I'm right, I'm going to change your life.
A lot of people out there are really conservative. They're shy, and that's a tough thing to swallow. I mean, what do?
I don't listen to them. You see, I just don't listen. You want to know something? Inside every shy, conservative person, I think there's a wild woman or a wild man. They're just waiting for permission to come out and play, and boy, do I give them permission. Do you ever see anybody who is on a stretcher, and they're hooked up to a heart monitor machine, and then all of a sudden that line goes flat because they've died? Well, that's what most of us are. We are zombies. We walk around breakfast, lunch, dinner, work, breakfast, lunch, dinner, work. I saw a funeral parlor sign once that said, why walk around half alive? For $350, we'll bury you. And we do. We walk around half alive. Well, this program is about coming alive. That's what it's going to do for you. And I have been accused of taking the most shy, conservative person, and when I get done with them, they're going to be so outrageous. Not only are they not going to believe what they're capable of, but their partner is going to look at them and say, you did this? I do not believe that you were able to carry this off.
So you bring out in them all these kind of latent things that nobody thought existed.
Absolutely.
And you do it with fun, and you give examples on how to do it. I mean, you're really specific.
Yeah, I don't leave anything up to chance or luck. I tell you exactly what to say, exactly what to do to have a better life. And I want to tell you something. I'm going to give the viewers, I want to let them know what this program is about in a nutshell. Every woman who is listening to this show, it's about becoming more of a woman so that he feels like more of a man. And when I say that, it has nothing to do with whether you are home taking care of children or you're president of a corporation, because you know what? When the doors are closed, there are no titles. There's a man and a woman standing there, and either you know how to relate to each other or you don't. Throughout history, men have died for women, they've killed for women, they built buildings for women. The Taj Mahal was built for a woman. I thought, what did these women have when I can't even get them to vacuum? I'm not asking him to build a building or kill for me. I'm saying, you know what, I'm tired today. I don't feel too good. Could you help out? Sure. What you find is that these women throughout history knew how to make these men feel like men. And I'm telling you, when a man feels masculine, there's nothing he won't do for a woman. And when a woman feels her femininity, there's nothing she won't do for that man in her life. And this program is going to show everybody how to make their mate feel so masculine or so feminine that they would never choose to be with anybody else.
We have viewers out there, they've got their fingers on the dial. All they want to know is the phone number. So let me tell them all about the program. To find out more about Ellen's proven relationship program, pick up that phone that you got in your hand right now and call the toll-free number on your screen. Ellen's program is not available in stores. It's only available through this exclusive TV offer. And we've got some good news for you. We've worked out a special arrangement for our viewers today to receive a substantial discount off Ellen's program. So call right now.
I want to say something, too, about people who eventually file for divorce. If a couple stood at an altar and said, till death do us part. You know what that means? That means that they loved each other enough to say, I want to spend the rest of my life with you. And with this program, they're going to be able to fulfill that promise. I don't care who starts. I really don't. It doesn't matter as long as somebody starts listening. And then when you see the changes, that mate is going to say, you're so different. What is going on? Why are you so different? Is there anything like that for me? And yes, there is.
You know, I always try to stump you. You're impossible to stump. I'll throw you a curveball. What if only one person wants to fix this relationship?
It doesn't matter. I'll tell you why. Because in any love relationship, there is a chain reaction. When one person does something loving, the other person's going to react. And I'll give you an example. 6 years ago, a woman wrote to me and said she bought my program. She did exactly what I asked her to do and exactly what I asked her to say. And all of a sudden, she said, I could not believe the way my husband was reacting to me. He started to help with the housework. He started to plan little mini vacations. He started to send her presents. He sent her a dozen roses. I'm not shocked because I know that that happens. When people do what I ask them to say, the other person sees such a lovable person, they can't help but react to them.
One of the areas in your program that I found extremely fascinating was that when you talked about innovative places for men and women to make love and that it enhances their relationship, you certainly have my attention.
Good, because my goal is to get the couple in the bedroom. But we have to understand something. Men need sexual fulfillment in order to respond to a woman emotionally. A woman needs the emotional fulfillment in order to respond to a man sexually. And what we have is a stalemate. She looks at him and says, you know what? You don't make me happy. You don't give me what I want. And he looks at her and says, who cares what you want? You don't fulfill my needs. And so I don't care who puts their finger on that dial and orders this program. It doesn't matter. The other person's going to react. We keep giving other people what we need, and then we wonder why we get nothing back in return. When you find out what the other person needs and you give that to them, you get everything back in return. And as an example, many times a man's way of saying, I'm so sorry, please forgive me, is through the act of making love. But a woman needs to hear the words first before she can respond. So I know that if I can get a couple outside the bedroom really understanding each other and feeling close and communicating and laughing and enjoying themselves, I know they're going to have a great time in the bedroom.
You know, Ellen, when I listened to your program, I realized how impactful and how valuable it was for married people. But then it occurred to me it is equally valuable for single people. In fact, I wish I had it when I was a bachelor, although I did pretty good.
I'm sure you did. You know what? If single people would get this program before they were in a relationship, they would be so far ahead of the competition. I had a woman that came up to me. I was doing a seminar in Cleveland. She said, you know what, Ellen? I wasn't in a relationship when I got your program. And by the end of tape number 1, this fellow that I was really interested in, I did what you told me to do, and all of a sudden he asked me out for a date. By tape number 4, I had a dozen roses, and by tape number 6, I had a marriage proposal. Then there was another woman who said, you want to know something? I ordered your program, and I thought, yeah, right, this woman is going to teach me something I don't know. Right. And then she showed everybody this gorgeous diamond ring. She goes, obviously you taught me something I didn't know. But she said she was with a man who would not commit for 5 years. He was afraid of marriage. And I corrected her, as I do a lot of women who say that. I said, no, you don't understand. He wasn't afraid of marriage. He was afraid because he didn't know what to do. You know, you see all your friends, they're happy, they get married. Then they get divorced, and they're miserable. Well, who wants to be miserable? So this fear is not a fear of commitment or a fear of marriage.
It's ignorance.
It's right, because if you have, knowledge is power. And it energizes you, and it makes you feel confident. And confidence is sexy. But people are walking around that are single or afraid because they don't want to lose if they're in a relationship now, they don't want to lose the feeling they have now. And this program is going to show you what you do now, how to keep that forever.
So how do you perpetuate it and keep it
right.
going?
And then there was this other man. I've got to tell you about James. This was
Tell
priceless.
me about James.
He sent a letter to me and he said, Ellen, I was never in a relationship. Nobody was interested in me. And I listened to your program, I don't know how many times. I listened to it over and over wherever I was driving in the car. And all of a sudden, when I started to do what you asked me to do, all the women in the office started to become interested in me. He said, you want to know something? I don't go anywhere without that tape program because I feel like I'm armed and dangerous.
Well, it worked for James,
Yes,
clearly.
it does.
But let's talk about your program and why it's so different from anyone else's. Why should our viewers get your program?
Well, number one, I've been married for 30 years, so that's different.
Well, I'd say that is quite a bit different because some of these guys out there, these self-proclaimed love experts, they're writing books about relationships, how to keep them going, and they've been divorced 3 or 4 times.
Right. And you know how I look at it? Peter, if I wanted to learn how to make a great deal of money, I'd go to somebody who was wealthy and I'd ask their opinion. I wouldn't go to somebody who was poor. If I wanted to learn how to raise children successfully, I'd go to somebody who has raised happy, loving, successful children. I wouldn't go to somebody who has delinquents as children or has no children. And to me, it's the same with your relationship. If you go to somebody and you want help with your relationship, don't you want to know that their relationship is working? There are so many experts out there that can't even make their own lives work, and then they're giving this advice to other people. And let me tell you something, because I've been married for 30 years to the same man, I know what it's like. I've gone through loss, disappointment, tragedy. I've had a life-threatening illness. We've gone through bankruptcy. But you know what? I didn't give up, and I don't want anyone else out there to give up or quit. I know what it's like to live next to somebody and you feel that lonely, desolate, empty feeling. I also know what it's like to lie next to somebody in bed, and even though it's your husband, it feels like a stranger. But again, I didn't give up, and I had the tools to turn that around, and I can give every single person out there the same tools. You don't have to give up that dream of living with that person that you love.
Well, clearly, you went through all this. You experienced it all, and from it, you grew. You found things out about yourself. Plus, having helped tens of thousands of couples out there with relationships, you know what's going on.
I look at people who are in a bad relationship, and I say, isn't it exhausting to be in a bad relationship? I mean, it drains the life out of you. When you're in a good relationship, you feel so energized, you feel so powerful, you're in such a great mood. But when you're in a miserable relationship, why would anybody choose to stay in a miserable relationship and feel just depleted and drained if I have a way that I'm saying to them, I can change all that?
And you do have a way to change all
I
that.
absolutely
And I'm going to tell the folks out there about that way.
Okay.
So hang on a second. To find out more about Ellen's Proven Relationship Program, it's time to pick up that phone and call right now. The toll-free number is on your screen. Remember, Ellen's program is not available in stores, and it's only through this exclusive TV offer. And the good news is, of course, we've worked out a special arrangement for our viewers today to receive a substantial discount off Ellen's program, so do call us right now. You talk a lot about communication. You talk about the importance of communication and the fact that as a society we really don't communicate.
Yes. And you know what's important to understand? A lot of people don't have role models. If you come from a dysfunctional home, how are you going to know what to do? Do you know I had a psychiatrist, a true story, in my class, and I said, what am I going to teach you that you already don't know? And he looked at me and said, you want to know something? All of my training is learning about the dysfunctional person, and I'm on my 4th divorce myself. I don't know what's normal anymore. There are so many people out there that don't know what a normal relationship is about. If they didn't see fun and enjoyment and laughter going on, so this program is just telling you what a healthy, loving, caring relationship is all about. You know, a woman that says to her mate or her husband or her boyfriend says, you know what, I want you to be more romantic. He doesn't know what that means, especially if he didn't have role models. You know how many experts out there will say, I want you to be more loving, I want you to be more caring, I want you to be more understanding. What does that mean? People don't know. So I tell you exactly what to do. I'll give you an example. Let's just say man comes home and he sees his wife on the telephone and he thinks, I don't believe this. I haven't seen her for 8 hours and now she's on the phone. She'd rather talk to her friends than be with me. I have psychiatrists who purchase this program. I have psychologists. I have marriage counselors because they know this is a program that can take a couple from having problems to showing them what passion is about, what fun is about, what romance is about, what excitement is about. And it's easy and it's simple and nobody has to do it alone. I'm going to be there every step of the way.
But don't you think, in spite of your being there every step of the way, that there's some luck involved in here or something?
Oh, luck? Let me tell you something. You're successful. Now, nobody's looking. I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
Did you get there because of luck or you were in the right place at the right time? What would you tell me?
No, I got there by hard work.
Why do we think in a relationship that hope and luck have something to do with it? I hope I meet the right guy. I hope my marriage will work. I hope I'm lucky and this relationship will work out. Hope and luck, you know, people will say, I hope it gets better. I hope things will change. Things? You know, it's you that has to get better. It's you that has to change. It's you that has to get new knowledge so that you have new behavior. I want to tell you something. I have, after 30 years, a wonderful, passionate relationship. I didn't get there by luck or chance. I've worked on my relationship. And when I say work, I don't mean the kind of work when you had, 9 to 5. I'm talking about fun, entertaining, enjoyable. People don't have to feel lonely, desolate, empty out there. They can have a wonderful time with their partner.
But there are people who feel lonely and desolate. There are the people with low self-esteem. Can you help them?
Yes, and you know what? I'll never forget. I got a letter from a woman that said, I wonder if you can see the tear stains on this stationery because they're tears of happiness. Before your program, I couldn't stand myself, so why would anybody else want to be in a relationship with me? And after your program, I loved myself so much that I immediately started dating. You cannot imagine how many letters I get from people who are single or even in a relationship that can't stand themselves. And if they had a choice, they wouldn't want to be with themselves, so why should somebody else want to be with them? And again, I don't just say be more loving, be more caring, be more kind to yourself. I show you exactly how to do that.
Let's take a moment and go back to the single people out there. I mean, there's thousands upon thousands of attractive single people, and they have trouble getting together. I mean, there's dating services, there's clubs. Let's talk about your program and how it addresses them. You have a technique that does something for those folks?
At the end of tape number 1, I am going to give them something to do. If they follow exactly what I do, they will have more dates than they know what to do with. And it's easy, it's simple, it's fun. You know what? People who are single have to understand that new information brings out new behavior and it gives you room for somebody new to come into your life. If a person isn't willing to go back and look at how they behaved before and now change it because they have new information like my tape, then they're going to do the same old thing. If they weren't attractive before, they still won't be. If they didn't have people in their life, they still won't. But with my program, it's a brand new way of looking at life, behaving in a different way, and having new people come into your life.
What about those people who have had affairs? You know, some of them haven't repeatedly. I mean, are they too far gone?
No, it is never too late. Remember what I said at the beginning of the program, why we have an affair? Because of the way we feel about ourselves when we're with the person. Well, what that person is saying, you know what? You don't make me feel good anymore, and this other person makes me feel great. Well, why wouldn't we want to be with another person who makes us feel good? And so if you understand what fighting fire with fire, my program is going to show you how to make that man or that woman feel so good about themselves, make them feel like a king or a queen, they would never dream of being with anybody else after this point.
How does your program deal with the changes affected by children and that whole issue?
Because I tell parents that the best gift they ever give their children is a loving relationship with each other. They have already proven that the happiest, most well-adjusted children come from a home where mommy and daddy love each other. And I want to tell you something else. I don't care how good of a mommy you are or how good of a daddy you are, the only thing we ever give our children are roots and then wings. They're going to be gone someday. And if you've made that parent-child relationship number 1, then you're going to join the statistics statistics where 1 out of every 2 end in divorce. The adult relationship, the parent relationship, the spouse relationship has to be number one, and then the children will be happy.
So you're saying basically that we as parents are the model for our children for what a good relationship is.
Absolutely, and everything I talk about ultimately is for the children. I want you to hand down a wonderful relationship from generation to generation, and then your kids will be secure and happy.
So it not only it benefits you in a relationship, but it benefits your children. So already we've gone from a generation to a generation. Let me make sure everyone knows that, okay? To find out more about Ellen's Proven Relationship Program, pick up the phone right now and call the toll-free number on your screen. Ellen's program is not available in stores. It's only through this exclusive TV offer. And of course, the good news is that we worked out a special arrangement for our viewers today to receive a substantial discount off Ellen's program. So call right now. Ellen, I hate saying this. I hate to say that we're almost out of time, but in fact, we are almost out. I know you could talk on forever and we could go on forever. But what final thoughts do you want to leave with our viewers?
I think there are 4 kinds of people that are watching this program. There's a couple that's happy, they're madly in love, and I'm going to keep what they've got now forever. Then there's a couple that's on the verge of divorce, and I'm saying don't file. When they get this program, it's going to bring back all the feelings they had, including the butterflies in their stomach, and they're going to be madly in love again. Then there is the single person. They're going to get this program, and then people are going to be attracted to them like a magnet. And then there's even a bigger group of people. They are existing right now in a blah, humdrum, boring relationship. It is going to be so exciting, so passionate, they're not going to know what hit them.
I got to tell you, Ellen, your program is so hot. I mean, there are so many people that have seen you on television. Thousands upon thousands of people have ordered your program and thus changed their lives in a most dramatic fashion. But there are those who have seen the program and haven't ordered it yet. What do you say to them?
I don't think that anything happens by chance. I think that if you're watching this program, it's by design. And let me say something. If you don't have a love affair with your mate, somebody else out there will. If you're a woman who is watching this program, you deserve to have a man who loves you with all his heart and soul. If you're a man watching this program, you deserve to have a woman who loves you with all her heart and soul. And this program is going to make that happen.
Well, I can tell you, if people out there can muster up 1/3 of the passion that you have, I tell you that their lives will change dramatically. Ellen, it's been great. It's always wonderful to have you with us here, and I really want to thank you for being here again.
Thank you. It's wonderful being here.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Very good. Now, on behalf of all of us here at Closer Look, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Learn the secrets of the opposite sex. Discover why a man falls in love with a woman. Uncover 3 secrets to keep your mate hopelessly in love with you. Experience the romantic rendezvous you've always dreamed of. And if you're single, discover the secrets to getting the right date. Have the opposite sex attracted to you like a magnet. Learn the secrets for great dating. And much more. Call now and get Ellen's video, a $29.95 value, absolutely free. The preceding was a paid advertisement for Light Your Fire.